Today, I'm going to be giving you a tutorial on how to use tubes in the Maker Pen. Alright, to start off, we need to open up our watch and equip the Maker Pen. So if we go to Home and then Backpack, and we go to Tools, we can see the Maker Pen right here. Alright, once we equip our Maker Pen, we will go to Palette and we need to select Tube, since that's what we're going to be learning. Alright, to start off with, I'm going to be teaching you what snapping is. So if you have snapping off, you can basically just, build tube wherever you want. There's no grids or anything. If you turn surface on, it builds onto the surface of any object that you're facing or that your Maker Pen's facing. And if you turn on grid, you can basically work on a grid and it keeps everything nice and neat and organized. You can make squares and stuff. Very cool. Next, you'll notice that once we press create or once we have tube enabled, we have a bunch of different menus that we can go through. I'm going to be explaining what each of these settings do. Okay, to start off, you'll have create grabbable objects. What this does is, if you have it enabled, you can basically grab objects whenever you make them, so you can move them around, you can just freely grab them with your hands. If you have it off, anything that you create will not be grabbable. That includes any other shape in the Maker Pen, and that also includes weapons, which is why I like to keep it on object default. So if I'm spawning in a shape, you can't grab it, but if I spawn in a gun or a weapon or a sword or something, I can still grab it. Alright, next up we have create shape mode. Basically all this does is if I were to equip a cube or something, if I have it on scale, it basically scales up, but if I have it on move, basically it'll just move wherever I move my Maker Pen and it won't scale or anything. Next up, we have uniform shapes. Basically, what uniform shapes does is, if I were to bring out tube, it sort of keeps things a little bit more organized by making sure your tubes are straight. So, no matter what direction I put it in, up, down, whatever, it will keep straight and it will only have 2 points in itself, 1 and 2. If I were to turn it off, you can basically just freely tube wherever you want and it will keep adding facets as you move your Maker Pen around. Next up, we have scale shapes with player. I usually have this off just for organization, but basically if you scale up or down, this setting makes it so that your tube scales with you. So I would scale up to this size. The tube is as big as me, as you can see. But if I were to turn it off and then scale up, you can see it stays the same size. Okay, now into the main 3 settings that we have of the tube. We're going to start off with tube radius. Basically, all tube radius does is it controls how big the tube is. So if 0.1 is pretty tiny, 0.2 is a little bit bigger, and it just goes up and up to 5 and 1, the biggest setting. I like to have it at 0.8 because that can just scale up. Okay, next up we have tube height scale. What tube height scale does is it controls the width of a tube, as in how thin or thick it'll be. So if you have it at the max, any tube you make will be a perfect circle, just like that. If you have it any lower, you'll see that it will start to get thinner and thinner. So you can have things really slim, we can have them like a circle, and then if you have them low, you can pretty much have things nice and flat. The setting after that is facets. This basically controls how many points are in your tube. I'm going to turn off smooth tubes for this so you can see what I mean. If we turn tube height scale back up, we'll be able to see that if we were to create a tube, it has 10 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If I were to set it to 5, as you can see, it now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. If I were to set it to 3, it would make a triangle having 1, 2, 3 points. If I were to set it to 4, it would create a square, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if it had 6 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next, I'm going to get into smooth tubes. What smooth tubes does, as you can see, is it just makes the... Hang on, if I put it onto 10, it makes the edges and the outside more smooth. Because if I turn it off, you can see it's more rigid and straight and textured, and turning on smooth tubes just kind of smooths it out to be more circular, if you will. You can play around with smooth tubes to create, if you turn it off, to turn it on, you have like smooth squares and stuff, and you can edit it how you wish. We'll be going through what connect nearby tubes does. Basically, it's just a nice feature where if I were to like make a line or something and I wanted it to curve upwards and be connected, I can't do that unless I have connect nearby tubes on. So if I connect nearby tubes on and then I try and edit it up, as you can see, they will join up and there'll be a point here where it'll be nice and smooth. Next up, I'm going to be teaching you how to edit points in between tubes and what kind of settings they have. So say if I were to make a tube, just a little straight line, and then I was to click edit on the tube, you can see that it comes up with 2 points. So these are the points of what the tube starts and which it ends. I can move them around, I can rotate them, I can do all sorts of things. Scale them, make things bigger, make things smaller. You can also transform them, but that's just everything. Alright. If I were to use the select tool, I can insert more of these by selecting 1 point and 2 points. And then I can use the options menu to insert a point, and that creates another point in between the 2 points. Basically, I now have a 3rd point in the tube, and I can now edit it and do all sorts of things. I can also do this again by inserting in between there, there, and there. That will make one here and here. And then now we have another 2 points. I can make objects smooth with this, or try to make like a circle or something. There's heaps you can experiment with. I could also select both of these, and I could scale them. That makes a funny shape. You can do all sorts of things. You can experiment, you can make different rooms, you can make props, you can make heaps of things with this feature. Probably one of my favorite features in the entire MakerPen. And that is going to be it for this tutorial. I hope you learned something, I hope you found out something new. I'm going to be doing a better tutorial soon with more facts, more features, and more tools you can use in the MakerPen, and how you can better your building. Hope you enjoyed this quick little tutorial. Thank you all so much for watching. See ya.